just wanted to talk a little bit about the Western Regional Advocacy Project. I know there's probably some people who want to know a little bit more about what that is. The first I can tell you is that it's a movement that is based up and down the West Coast, and the idea is that we know we need to start something regional and take it national. And it's all of our organizations combined. It takes more resources, it takes more building, more time. And I'm always brought back to the civil rights movement. It started in the 50s, but it really didn't pick up its steam until the 60s. And it took that time to train the leaders, to get the people who are experiencing the oppressions, experiencing the hardship, to come up and stand up, tell their stories, and share it with everyone. So I think it's really important to recognize that this is a movement that's going to take some time. It's obvious, right? Everything takes a little time. But we're here because we're willing to put to begin to commit our organizations and commit this coalition to doing what it needs to do. And what it needs to do is expose the fact that affordable housing is at the cornerstone of the epidemic in homelessness, as we know now. It really goes back, and the Without Housing report that this poster comes from came directly from WRAP, and you can find that at www.wraphome.org, and WRAP spelled W-R-A-P. You can go to that website and download a copy of the Without Housing report, and it shows very clearly that there's a correlation between the slashing of funding in the early 80s and subsequent rise in homelessness throughout the country. So there is no doubt this report details in very clearly that there are causal relationship between the two. So affordable housing, I had a reporter ask me, so what do you want local governments to do? Affordable housing. Well, it's important. It's important that affordable housing the conversation start grassroots. We need to force and show the federal government that it's made a grave error in slashing the funding of affordable housing, and we need that funding back. And so we're going to go to San Francisco as a coalition as a community from Portland, and we're going to join our partners from up and down the West Coast, and we're going to march on the federal building, and we are going to demand on the anniversary of Obama's inauguration that we start looking at affordable housing and making it a priority of his administration. Yeah. So, I think that one of the stories that I learned by being involved with WRAP was, and I think it's a really good story, is that on the eve of the Voting Rights Act in 1965, all the civil rights leaders met with Lyndon Johnson, and they said it's a moral imperative that you pass this law, that you sign this into law. And Lyndon Johnson said that he needed them to go out into the communities, organize their communities, so that he had no other choice. And it's not that he didn't support the Voting Rights Act, it was that he knew that to get it through Congress, to get it where it needed to be, he needed to support, he needed to show that there was overwhelming community support, which there was. So they went back and they did that, and we got the Voting Rights Act. So I think it's important to recognize that we have someone, I think that if you sat with Obama right now and said, affordable housing needs to be the #1 priority, he would say similar. That we need to go back to our communities and we need to recognize that we need to organize ourselves and we need to move this ball forward. And I think, there's a dream out there. The inauguration of Obama wasn't the change. The change is that we need to organize, and we need to get out there, and we need to make our voices heard. And without that, he's just a figurehead. We need to have real change, substantive change, organized change in our communities, or else we're not going to get that ball moving forward through the halls of Congress or anywhere else in political seats of power. So that's really, really important to remember. That growth. This going out to San Francisco, meeting with all of our partners is part of that growth. But the next step is to really get into a really good process on how we're going to start recruiting new members and what sort of system we're going to use to do that. I would say the best way to know and to learn more about becoming a part of WRAP is to go to the website, which is www.wraphome.org.
Hello, hello. I got a pretty loud voice, but other than that, it's a thing. Whereas that, I know we're all in a recession. This is my first time ever going to a rally. So actually, it made me think back of 1971, because there was a recession back then, though, too. Some of you wasn't even born. I was. So, it's a thing where I had just won a state championship on a basketball team in Portland, Oregon. We were at Benson High School. It was my sophomore year. I went to this motivational course, and this is what they had us write about don't quit. So I call it, back in the neighborhoods, Don't Quit, 1971.
Yeah.
So it goes like this. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you tread seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care presses you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometime learns. And many a person's turn about when they might have won had they stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victory cup. And he learns too late, when the night comes down, how close he was to the golden crown. Success is a failure turned inside out. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem wrong that you mustn't quit.
All right.
Say hello to my brothers and sisters that are a part of this activism and my brothers and sisters that are homeless. It's called In This Day. Oh no, I can see perfectly. Thank you, Doug. In this day, when poverty is treated like tyranny, we need to look inside ourselves and see what causes such anger. Why should poverty be aligned with despotism just because of drugs and alcohol, lack of money, or a criminal background? We are all people and we have all done wrong. No matter how bad the crime is, if a person is free, they should have a home, a place to rest their head. In this day, we look at types of people that we do not like and marginalize them. We send them to prison, the prison of the streets, to deal with their problems when they need help in a home. How much longer will we be the cause of pain for those that rest under bridges, eat in soup kitchens, beg for money, and sleep in shelters? Some people endure the cold of the streets in the winter season. Why should they deal with the cold shoulder provided by our fellow men and women? We are one people in one nation, and by God, we need to look past our differences to find affordable housing for the hurting, the marginalized, the outsiders. In this day, let us remember that we are looking for the common good of all. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. These are the words of the brave Martin Luther King Jr. He addressed issues of poverty and racism. May he rest in peace. Now, in this day, let us stand together, united against the darkness of poverty and the shadow it casts all over our nation. Let's return funds to affordable housing all over the U.S. of A. into what has crippled our moral standing, homelessness and the need for a home. Thank you for being here in this day. Your support for me, a homeless man, will not be forgotten. May peace be found in this message, and let's hope that joy can be restored through the tears of the homeless outbreak. Sincerely, David Mitchell.